Hello, fellow Sudokans, and welcome to Zen and the Art of the Guardian Sudoku puzzle for Tuesday, the 22nd of March, 2022. A lot of twos in there again. And this is the Guardian medium level. Now, to be honest with you, Tuesday's medium game is usually what I call beginner plus one. That means it's an easy level game, usually. Now, sometimes they upset the apple cart, but in general, that's what it is. Excuse me. So, if you are new to Sudoku, don't worry. I'm sure you'll be able to cope with this game. I'm not doing this on the camera because, again, the printout is not very clear from the Guardian today. So I figured I may just as well do it on screen. And also, if you are a beginner, sometimes it gives me a chance to highlight things a bit easier, a bit more easily. Excuse me. Sorry. I thought I'd finished coughing. Obviously, I hadn't. Before we get on, let's chat about what's going on. Well, let's not chat about what's going on because what's going on is still the war in Ukraine. Which we try to not think about too much, unless it drives us crazy. We have to think about it sometimes, so we can help and support and do what we can. But apart from that, let's not worry too much about our future, and the possibility of spread of war across Europe, etc. Although I'm not in Europe, I'm in Asia, and that should make me less concerned, but it doesn't. I was thinking, how do we cope with these kind of things? Stoicism is often a good thing. It's often a bad thing, sometimes a bad thing, and sometimes a good thing. Let's put it like that. How do we remain stoic? One of the reasons I left Britain, I think, was because, well, apart from the weather, I mean, was because people tend to moan a lot there. They really like to complain a lot. It seems to be the national sport, complaining. And that's not me. I'm much more of a positive person, and but how do we, stay positive? For example, I was up at 5:30 this morning, trying to clean up after a storm that flooded the surrounding area. When I say the surrounding area, I specifically mean my garden. And yesterday was still too wet to even start cleaning up. So today I can start. I can't finish it, but I started this morning, and it meant going around, picking up horrible wet plastic and muddy, clumps of oily mud, and hideous things. Condoms. Fortunately, none of them were open. They're still in the packet. And other nasty things. Not that condoms are nasty, of course, but I mean other, rather unpleasant things to be picking up. And how do you stay positive? When you tend to complain and think, "Oh, damn, this kind of thing," But then I remembered about the war, and I thought, well, people have things so much worse, and very often this is a way of consoling yourself and trying to get yourself back into a more positive frame of mind. I think it's just imagining how much worse life could be and how much worse life is for some people, those poor people desperately trying to stay alive in Ukraine right now, trying to escape the country, with women and children trying to escape. And when they do escape, they arrive in a country, they're not sure what, they don't speak the language, they're not sure what they're going to face, etc., etc. And yet and those people are terrified and in a horrific situation. But for them, how do they remain stoic? Well, maybe they think, well, at least I'm not dead. That's the ultimate, isn't it? So if you're alive, maybe you can still imagine the situation that is worse somehow. Okay, enough of my whatever I'm doing, not philosophizing, but whatever, my commenting this morning. Let's get on with our game of how to play Sudoku. So if you are a beginner and you've never played Sudoku before, let me just explain very quickly. We have rows across with 9 squares. We have columns down with 9 squares. And then we have these blocks. Here's an easy to see block of 9 squares, a 3x3 grid. And you can see the outlines going across. Right. Now, our objective, I should say, is to place the digits 1 to 9 in each of the rows, columns, and blocks. And because there are only 9 squares, we use the numbers 1 to 9, and each number can only appear in its square once. Do you know what I've just noticed? This is unusual for a Tuesday medium. There's no digit 9. We've not been given a digit 9. We've got 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, 6, 7, and 8. There aren't any 9s on the grid. Now, this is something that happens at higher levels more often, but interesting that they've done that on a Tuesday game. Now, don't panic. Don't panic, as Clive Dunn used to say in Dad's Army. You will be able to find a 9 fairly soon. I'm convinced of it. But what we will start with is the 7, because I see it's a nice, easy to find pattern. So we understand that because 7 is in this row here, it can't reappear in this row because each number appears only once. 7 blocks across here, and now 7 blocks up this column up here as well. So if we look at this block here, there is only one empty square, which is not affected by these intersecting 7s, and so we know 7 must fit there. Okay, now we have 7 that we just placed blocking up there, and a 7. Oh, I've got it wrong. I was about to say this. 7 blocking down here, 7 blocking down here, 7 across there. There we go. There's one empty square there. But obviously, you can tell immediately that I don't play these games ahead of starting the camera. Now we have 1 blocking down here and 1 blocking down here. So in this section down here, there's only 1 space where we can place our 1. Yeah, as I was saying, these games are entirely unrehearsed, and sometimes it shows badly. Okay, here's an interesting point. Let's look at this row over here. Now we've got 8, 4, and 2, so we've got excuse me, a lot of numbers to find. Still got 6 numbers to find, of course. Now, one of the missing digits is 6. So we're going to see whether or not we can place a 6 in this row. Now, the first thing, the easiest thing to note is this 6, because it's adjacent to a square, but it's also within this block. So remember, 1 to 9 can only come once within a block. So the 6 blocks, this square and this square, neither of these squares can be 6. Okay. Now we've got a 6 down here. So that's 6 here, blocking that square there because it's in the same column. We've got a 6 here blocking this square in this column, and we've got a 6 here blocking this square here. So across here, again, we're left with just 1 blank square. So that's where we can place our 6. We know it must go there. Let's examine 6's in this column here. Now, can we eliminate this block, this square here? Answer, yes, because we have a 6 in this block already, so we know that the 6 can't be here. How about this one? Yes, we can eliminate the 6 here. How about this square? Yes, I think you've seen it already, haven't you? So again, in this column here, there is only 1 empty square for us to place our 6, so we know where it goes. When we see a block with 2 empty squares like this, we normally examine it to see what's missing and see if we can get anything. Well, we know one of the numbers is 9 because we haven't got any 9s on this grid yet. What's the other missing number? The other missing number is 3. So can we find any intersecting 3s? Look, 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 look. Ah, you found it. Well done. Yes, we have a 3 blocking this square here. So we know that 3 must be placed here. And now finally, we have our first 9. So there weren't any 9s at the beginning, but we now have a 9. So we've made some progress. Now, when we examine this column here, we look for the missing numbers. There are only 2 of them. There are only 2 blank squares. And when we look through the whole series, we find that the missing numbers are 2 and 3. That's what we need to fill in these 2 squares. Right, you've seen it. Well done. Yes, this 2 means that this can't be a 2. The 2 goes here and the 3 goes there. Well done. Congratulate yourself. you're having a good morning. 3 blocks up here, so only 1 square left for a 3. And then the missing numbers here, well, we still need a 9 for sure. And the other missing number is a 7. Now we can't tell which is which, so we just have to forget about that for now. And we will look elsewhere. Now what we could do is we could find out the missing numbers here. We could also find out the missing numbers here. Remember, this is a 7 and 9 in these 2 squares, so we can calculate what is missing from here. Okay, like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. Do we have a 5? No, so 5 has to be here. 6. Do we have a 7? Yes, because the 7 is up here. Do we have an 8? No, so 8 must be here. And then the 9 is one of these 2 squares. So we now have worked out that this is 5 and 8. Now again, we look and see any help. Do we have any intersecting 5s or 8s? The answer is no, sadly. So we just leave it. We have to come back at a later time, but we will try to keep in mind that it's 5 and 8. How about the missing numbers here? Again, with 3 specific squares left from this column, and the missing numbers are 2, 6, and 9. That's what we need for these 3 squares. Now have a look across and see if you see anything. You've seen something, right? You've seen hopefully 2 things. 6 and a 2. We need 6 and 2 in these 3 squares, but we've got a 6 and a 2 blocking. So if this square here can't be 6 and can't be 2, then we know that it has to be a 9. Okay. Right, what comes next? You know, one of the fun things about Sudoku is searching around trying to decide where we should be looking. Well, I've looked at the 1s and noticed that the 1s block up 2 columns, and then there's a 1 blocking across this row here, so we can place a 1 right there. Sometimes it's a good idea, if you're playing on the computer, to highlight digits, but I would prefer you, if you're a beginner, to try this on pen and paper. Actually, it helps when you're learning. We have 2s blocking in this pattern, so 2 has to fit in that square there. We have 2 blocking down here, 2 across here and 2 across here, so 2 has to be in that square. Okay, keep looking, keep looking. Okay, now we have an 8 blocking all the way down here, and we have an 8 blocking across here. So we can find an 8 in that square. Okay, we sometimes do things like this. You will notice that 1 and 6 block this square here, and 1 and 6 block this square here, and so we are left with just 2 empty squares. So we know that 1 and 6 must fit into these 2 squares because they are blocked from these 2 squares, right? So if 1 and 6 are here, we can now work out what's left for this block. So what do we need for this block? Actually, what we need now is 4 and 9 to go somewhere here, because we know that 1 and 6 are here. So if these 2 squares must contain 4 and 9, we can immediately see that this 4 stops this square from becoming a 4. So we know that the 4 is there, and the 9 excuse me, goes there. We can also see that 9 blocks across here now, and 9 excuse me, we can place there. Right. Coughing fit hopefully over. Now we need to look elsewhere because none of these things that down here are obtainable just yet. So we need to look and shift our focus to somewhere else on the grid. And this is something that you need to remember to do consciously, because sometimes you tend to get stuck in one area and not look at other places around. 7 blocks in those two row and column. I do have my own teeth, but sometimes they let me down. Okay, 7's here, 7 across here. That's a 7 there. One number missing here. It's a 9, isn't it? Okay, we've got plenty of 9s now. Look, 9s all over the shop. We didn't have any to begin with, but now we do. Again, we'll do this kind of thinking forward or imagining forward. Again, one of the missing numbers here is 5. The 5 blocks across here, so 5 is definitely in one of these two squares, okay? Now, as it looks at the moment, we can't see how that helps us. We can't see any intersecting 5s, but when you do this, when you notice that 5 blocks along this row, you now know that 5 is limited to either this square or this square, right? 5 blocking along this row, so 5 has to be either here or here. Now, if it's here, well, it blocks down this column. And if it's here, it still blocks down this column in the same way. So whichever one of those two squares it's in, this cannot be 5 because 5 will appear in one of those two squares. So now we know that 5 is there. And actually, we can get this number as well because we know what's missing here. If you remember, it was 1 and 6. Do you remember earlier on we said 1 and 6 appears in here? So we know 1 and 6 are here. So the other number that we need to complete this row is a 4. Or you could just say 4 blocks across there and that leaves one empty square. So often a couple of different ways to find the same information. Let's do that kind of imagining or forward thinking first again. Look, 4 blocks across here, right? So we know that 4 is in one of these two squares, meaning it can't appear anywhere else in this row. 4 is blocked from this row. Okay, now the 4 blocks across here and the 4 blocks up there. So we know that 4 has to fit there. And then we could say 4 blocking up here, 4 across there. So the 4 fits there. Are you enjoying the game yet? Good. But you've really got to play the game yourself. This is not one that you can just watch, and be an onlooker. You have to take part because the fun is, when you actually get the solution and it's yes, it's one of the, it's a game, right? I mean, it's for fun. When you find the answer, you always feel joyous. 5 blocks up here, that will be a 5 there. Now, we said earlier that the 5 blocks across here, but now we have another 5 blocking this square. So we're left with that 5 there. And now there's only one digit missing from this row. So we're sure to know what it is because if you're only one number missing, well, you have to work it. You have to know what it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We got right to the end. It's a 9. Okay. And now we have 2 numbers missing here, so we should try and find out what they are. Excuse me. Missing numbers are 1 and 3. Now we have a 1 intersecting here, so that stops that from becoming a 1. So 1 goes here, and a 3 will go there. We have 1 number missing across here, and you'll find it's a 3 if you look hard enough. Right, where to look next? Down here, because now that we've put a 1 here, Do you remember we had our 1 and 6 down here? The 1 block's down here, so the 1 occurs here, and the 6 is in this square. Now the 6 blocks up here, and the 6 blocks down here, and the 6 blocks across there, so that's our 6. Then 6 blocking across here, and we didn't need it, we just needed that one there, so we can place our 6 there. 1 digit missing from this column, it's 2. The 2 now blocking across here, and across here, and up there, so that's our 2. 1 number missing from this column. The missing number when the motorbike has gone is an 8. 8 blocks across here and up here, so that puts an 8. Oh, sorry, hit the wrong key. 8 blocks up here, 8 blocks up here. That's an 8. 1 number missing for this column. It's a 9. 9 blocking here, 9 blocking here. 9 goes there. 9 blocking up here, so 9 is there. So 9 is actually now complete. We have all of the 9s, even though at the beginning we didn't have any. It's not our last number to be finished. The missing digit here is 4. 4 blocks across here, so that's a 4. What's missing now? 1 number missing across this row, it's 5. 1 digit missing from here is an 8. 1 digit missing from this row is a 5. 1 digit missing from this column or this block, whichever way you look at it, is a 1. It will be the same number anyway. And we're almost done now, aren't we? This 5 means that this can't be a 5. So 5 is here, and 3 is the last number needed there. The 3 blocks down here. So that's a 3, and to finish it, we'll have a 7. So if that's your first Sudoku, if you're just a beginner, I hope that was easy and explanation to follow and not too fast. Remember, you can go back and watch it again if you like. That will help my views too, right? So please go back and watch it again. Okay. And there are plenty of other easy games. And if you're looking for a proper medium game, that means a bit harder than this. There is also a selection of medium puzzles on this YouTube channel. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.